Live by the sun, love by the moon. I've really liked this quote for quite a while, and I was really happy to finally put it to use. Sometimes I do that. I'll go by a quote versus seeing a pattern. So in this case, this is exactly what happened. I let the quote inspire the artwork. As always, I'll make sure to put everything I used today into the description box for you guys if you'd like to recreate this item. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and let's wake up, prep these tumblers, and slay all day. Let's do this. The tumbler that I'm using today is from Makerflow, and this is a 20-ounce thick. For those that have never purchased through Makerflow, they do come in this box. Of course, they do come with a reusable straw, a basic slider lid, and they all come with these care cards that you can obviously give to your customers or to whoever you're making these tumblers for. Since we are doing a split look on this tumbler, I'm going to go ahead and take a piece of paper. I am going to put my tumbler bottom down onto that piece of paper, and I'm going to trace around the bottom, making a template for myself. And then we will simply cut that out. I cannot find the footage of what I did next, but you want to fold it in half. You're going to lay it onto the bottom of your tumbler, and you're going to trace it down the center as I did there. As you can see the yellow line there. I did accidentally go askew because I had my kids helping me, but that's okay. We lined it back up. Good to go. So now I'm just going to take either a straight ruler or anything you have on hand, and I'm just going to simply finish up the lines on each side, giving us that split. After you get your lines all laid down, you're going to go ahead and take a piece of painter's tape and lay it firmly across that center line, just exposing one side. We're going to work on one side at a time. Because we are using two different types of glitters, if I were to try to do it all at once, I run a chance of mixing the gold in with the silver because the glue won't be dry yet, and I don't want to do that. So I like to let one side dry completely, then come through and do the other side so that way nothing mixes together and gets where it doesn't need to be. Now you could spray paint this gold if you would like to, but I'm just going to use a gold paint that I already have on hand. And again, I was letting my children help me because it was bring your kids to work day and they were working with me. So this is actually my daughter painting it up for me. So I'm going to go ahead and get a layer of paint onto the tumbler. I am not using this as my glue. It's too thin and I don't like how the glitter sheds away after I try to stick it to just the paint. So we're just going to get a layer of paint on there. Then you want to go ahead and choose any gold colored glitter you want. I'm going to go ahead and use Marigold here. I'm going to lay my glue down as my adhesive. And then you just want to spread it out evenly. And then come through and lay your glitter down. And of course, after you're all done, you just want to shake it off a little bit to get off all that little extra or what extra you can. And you're going to set it off to the side and let that dry. And of course, as you've seen, I did remove the tape before I let it dry so it doesn't get glued down. You know what I mean? So we don't want to do that. All right, after it's dry, we're going to come through and we are going to take our chip brush and sweep away any extra glitter that just didn't get adhered down. And then we will come through and get the other side glittered. So I'm not going to tape it off. You can if you would like to, but I'm just going to very carefully take my glue and push it right up to the edges of the other glitter line there. I kept it just the silver base because I am using a silver glitter. There's no need for painting because it's already the color I need it to be. So I'm using Cherish and I'm just going to get that glittered up real good. And of course, just like the first time, we're going to go ahead and set that off to the side after I get it glittered and let that dry completely. After it was dried completely, I came through with my chip brush once more. I swept it down really, really well. I came through and sealed it down. You can either use a liquid sealer or a spray sealer, but that is going to help make sure that any loose glitters are going to stay in place and not run into the other side where we don't need it. But after your sealer is dried, I come through with my hand and I wipe it over it, and as long as nothing comes off, we are good to epoxy. So now you want to come through, and I think I did about 20 milliliters of epoxy. I'm going to get that put on my tumbler here. And just like every step, we are going to hit it up with our torch, popping any little micro bubbles. And you want to let that cure at least overnight, depending on what kind of epoxy you use. If you're using fast set, you might even be able to start doing what you need to do later that afternoon, you know? So it all depends on what kind of epoxy you use. But regular set, like I'm using the next day. And while that cures, let's go ahead and make up those decals. So I went ahead and typed out my quote, and I used Ander font, I do believe. I'll make sure to put it out there for you guys. I'm pretty sure I got it off of Creative Fabrica. Then I went on to Creative Fabrica and I found the moon and sun. It's pretty much just the sun, but obviously I'm going to use it for both, you know what I mean? So you're just going to measure the width of the particular tumbler you're using. Your dimensions might need to be a little bit different. I unlocked it so that way I could stretch it taller as well, so I can make it a bit longer on the tumbler. I didn't want it so short, I wanted it longer. So I have those all made up. And then for the palm trees, it's this wrap that I've been using. Gosh, I've been using this wrap for years. I absolutely love it. It has the palm trees, the birds, it has everything you need to wrap completely around your tumbler. So again, I went ahead and sized that up to the proportions of the particular tumbler that I am using. And that's pretty much for the decals, and it's super easy, right? So for the quote, I did in a beautiful metallic gold. For the palm trees, I did black, and then for the sun and moon, obviously you can use whatever you want because you got to peel back anyways because we're going to be doing a peekaboo. Well, we're actually doing like a double glittered peekaboo, so we're going to need to tape off 1/2 of our tumbler, so whatever side you want to start with first. I think, what am I starting with? The gold side. That's what I'm going to be starting with. I'm just going to go completely around the tumbler on that line. I'm going to take one of our decals here, and I had a hard decision. I didn't know if I wanted it coming up or down. I ended up going facing down on both of them, so that's what I ended up doing. Either way, I think would look pretty cool. To line it up, I just started off right at the tape line with the edge of the sunbeam, and then just rolled it across, and it fit perfectly in the center. Then you want to go ahead and peel back your transfer tape. And you want to get some glue. I'm using glue. You can use epoxy if you want to, but I'm gonna just use glue. And we're gonna be doing an ombre, but I'm gonna take the glue and I'm gonna go all the way down to the bottom with it because I want it to fade pretty deep. So you don't need to worry about the bottom unless you want to go all the way down to the bottom with the extra glitter. But like I said, I'm going for that ombre effect. So just the top half here was good for me. The glitter I'm going to be using is called Ice, which is a semi-transparent blue. Okay, so I wanted to go something that was kind of light and airy. You know, that's the kind of look I was going for because it's daytime kind of look. So I really liked the effect that this gave. So if you can find a glitter that's kind of the same, or you can purchase it from sscglitters.com if you would like to, which is my glitter shop. Okay, so we're just going to do that ombre effect where I load it up really good right around the sun area because I want to make sure that once we peel that back, you can really see the peekaboo. Okay, and then I'm just going to just let it kind of drape naturally the rest of the way. I know it's difficult to see, but I could see it on my end. The camera doesn't really pick it up, but I went pretty deep with it, you know. So again, we're just doing that ombre, letting it naturally cascade down the rest of the way, just making sure that sun is covered up really good. Now, I sprinkled a little bit of gold over top too, but it really wasn't needed. You really couldn't see it, so that's why I'm not going to show it. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and peel back the tape while it's still wet. And I'm also going to go ahead and peel back all the decals, just being very careful because it is still wet and you might smudge it. So yeah, you can wait, you know, however you guys want to do it. I like to do it while it's wet because, you know, I don't want to accidentally peel back the glue or anything. And just like when we did the first split, we let that completely dry and we're going to sweep away any loose glitter that didn't adhere down to the glue, and then we're going to move on to the next side. And just like the first side, we taped off the opposite side. We're going to lay our glue down. Now this side I'm going for a little bit more dramatics because it's supposed to be like nighttime, so I chose a black holographic glitter to lay down on this side. And again, just like the first side, we're going to make sure that it gets layered on really well around our moon area and just let it naturally cascade down the rest of the way, creating our ombre. And for my new friends, I know it's kind of difficult to see because the glue has that coloring to it, but it dries clear. So don't worry, it dries clear and then you'll see the ombre underneath, okay? And again, we're gonna peel back our tape, peel back our decal, set it off to the side and let it dry completely. After it's dry, you're going to come through and sweep away any loose glitter. And then again, just like the first side, you are going to seal it down completely, either with a liquid sealer or a spray sealer. You're going to rub your hand across it, make sure there's no loose glitter falling off, and then it's time for the epoxy. Now into my epoxy, I did add a little bit of gold, glitter. I don't remember what it was called, just whatever you have on hand, whatever you like to use. I added a little bit of that into it because I kind of like the way it looks over the black and the gold area, or the blue in the front. I'll go ahead and hit it up with my torch, popping any little micro bubbles, and let that cure completely before moving on to the next step. Now for our finishing decals. So I'm actually going to take these trees and put them on 1 by 1 or 2 by 2, however you guys feel comfortable, or you could do a complete wrap all at the same time, you know, however you want to do it. There's no right or wrong when it comes to making art. Because honestly, this is going to not stop, it's going to completely wrap around anyways. There's going to be trees that are kind of in one side and the other, and we're going to separate it with some striping tape here in a second. But yeah, that's pretty much all you want to do is lay your trees down. So for the quote, I put mine more like in the very center, like kind of lower down. I made sure to try to line it up like directly in the center of the sun and the moon, and about right at the end of the sunbeam and moonbeam at the bottom there. So that way I had a guesstimate as to where it needed to be. And I actually did the birds last because I didn't know if I wanted it kind of dipping over the words or how I wanted to do it. But like I said, I did it last just so that way I could figure out exactly where to put my birds. And for the finishing touch, I'm using a pretty thin piece of nail tape. Now, for anybody who has never used nail tape, you don't want to use anything that you have touched, like you've touched the stickiness of the nail tape, or you don't want, you don't want to pull it and stretch it as you're putting it on, because it could make it want to shrink up and pull away from the tumbler after you apply your epoxy and all that. So not only will the oils make it want to peel back, but pulling and stretching it will make it want to pull back as well. So you just want to just let it naturally lay in place where you need it to be. And then you just want to come through and cut away any extra off of it. And just to make sure, again, that it's going to stay in place, those ends aren't going to peel back, I am going to put some liquid sealer across it as well. Spray sealer works just as well if you don't have the liquid sealer. I'm going to get its final coats of epoxy applied, and she is ready to go. Whether you take this design and duplicate it as is, or you take it and let it inspire you to create something that is completely your own, I hope that you guys had a lot of fun watching this tutorial today. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys next time.